Okay, I've got the Genesis G70 back. I went to the launch event. There was at Motormouth, the racetrack, in the spring when the car was first announced. But it's nice to get it back for a week-long test drive, using it in my daily life, living with it, and seeing how much I enjoy it. And I enjoy it a lot. This car has really impressed me. Now, there's some that argue that the styling is borrowed from a lot of other brands. Some say the front has some Infiniti influence. Around the back, the taillights kind of look like Mercedes-Benz. The trunk has a little bit of the BMW Bangle look. There's even Alfa Romeo in there. Put your comments below. Tell me what you think. But yes, they've kind of borrowed on some established brands, but I think overall the design is really cohesive. And the one you see here is the Sport. The Sport is available with the 2-liter turbo and this 3.3-liter V6. I'm going to get into all the different trims and what you can look for in a moment. But this car on size is roughly the same size as the Mercedes-Benz C-Class. So just this week at the Paris Motor Show, they introduced the BMW 3 Series, which is going to be interesting to see how that car drives and handles when we get it. I have to say, if you're looking for a premium, sporty, compact sedan, this might just be the car to beat when you factor in just how much it costs and what you get. So let's get in, go for a drive, I'll tell you all about it, and at the end, the price, which is a nice surprise. This G70 is sold with two different engines. The base model is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Everybody in this space has an engine of the same displacement. The output of this one is 252 horsepower, which is exactly the same as the Audi A4. And the power goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission to all 4 wheels, except on one trim. That's the 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder with a manual transmission and rear-wheel drive, and it's only for the Canadian marketplace. So that is a nice thing for those that really want to have some fun and have a rear-wheel manual car. That is not going to be a big seller, but the fact that Genesis Canada went to bat and asked for that car for this market says a lot about it. So I went to the Motormouth event, as I mentioned, and most of the day I was driving on the roads the 2-liter turbo automatic all-wheel drive, which is the one that most people are going to buy. And I have to say that it was a good car. And when I was there, this is what I said about it. So how does this base 2-liter feel? It's actually quite crisp. It doesn't have an adaptive suspension. It does have different settings, drive mode, so you can put it in sport. You even have custom settings, but it doesn't change the suspension. In order to get that, you do need to upgrade to the larger V6 engine. But I would say the passive shock absorbers in this model, it's a really nice combination of comfort and sportiness. Handling is good and sure-footed, so a good car. I didn't get to spend the day with this car, which is the 3.3-liter 6-cylinder. Now, they did have us go out on the track, and we did a follow the leader on the track. Unfortunately, the lead driver was not driving that fast, and it felt kind of pokey, and it was good, but it wasn't great. Bring it back to what I'm driving now, which is the 3.3-liter turbo, an everyday use. My impression of it is absolutely, I think this moves to the top of the pack. Now, they've just announced the new 3 Series, but considering everybody else in the marketplace, if I was shopping for a car in this class, this one would probably be the one that I would gravitate towards for a couple of reasons. First of all, what you get and the price that you pay. So the 3.3-liter V6 turbo has 365 horsepower. It's the same engine that's used in the Stinger, and this is built on a similar platform. However, this is a lot shorter. It has the trunk and not a hatch, and is almost 500 pounds lighter. That's an incredible weight savings over that Stinger. And when I drove that Stinger, and I'll put a card up here for you to watch, I liked it, but I wasn't impressed with the ride. I thought the ride was more GT touring car. This is just a whole lot of fun on a whole lot of different levels. So what you get with this top sport V6 is the adaptive suspension. And does it make a difference? Oh yeah. This car has an all-wheel drive system developed by Magna, the Canadian parts supplier. It also supplies BMW with the same all-wheel drive system, but the way that they have tuned this is really so much more performance oriented. It really feels like a rear-wheel drive car to give you that balance and that push from the back coming out of a corner. You also have the adaptive suspension, and there is a marked difference between comfort and sport. And when you put this car in its aggressive settings, it is so much fun to drive, and it feels like an extension of the driver. It goes where you want it to, it does it effortlessly. It gives you a sensation that you're driving something special, and that's not always the case with some of these cars. A lot of these sort of luxury, entry-level compact sedans, they're nice to drive, but they don't feel special until you get the top model. Now, this car is also fairly quiet. Under full acceleration though, the engine does give off a nice note. Not as nice as some others in this class, but overall pretty good. Now, this car comes with Brembo brakes. It also comes with Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tires on this trim, and the tires are fantastic. The grip is really good. So I gotta hand it to Genesis. They have done an excellent job with the way this car drives. Engine's powerful, chassis willing, you get lots of standard features in a car that looks the part. What they really need to do though is to get an SUV, a compact SUV on this platform with this styling, with these engines, with this driveline, and that would be an Alfa Romeo Stelvio competitor, which in my opinion is kind of at the top of the class when it comes to overall handling. Okay, pulling over now, let's get into the interior of this car. Now, the back seat isn't that big. So sitting where my seat is behind myself, there's a bit of leg room. I gotta say, the seats are comfortable and raked so you sit back. The roof line is a bit low. So this is a car that isn't the roomiest. The roomiest in this class is the Audi A4 for backseat passengers. But front seat passengers, there's no issue at all. Now look at all of the quilted seats in here, the piping, all of that kind of stuff. This is the upgraded leather, the Napa leather. The base leather isn't the same quality as this. And there's all kinds of different colors, textures, and patterns in the seats. All of them come with standard leather, just so you know. But depending on which trim you get, you can get a varied look. Now, if you take away the quilted seats and you just look at the dashboard, there's nice chrome accents on this car. There's nice knurling on the buttons for the heat. But overall, the switchgear and the materials on the dash itself are so similar to other Hyundai and Kia products. Even the buttons for the navigation unit and the way it all works together are kind of lifted in some ways from some of those other cars. So they've used some parts from their parts bin to put this car together, and I can kind of forgive that because they've been aggressive on price. One thing they don't have in this Genesis is a digital dashboard behind the steering wheel. They've got really quite busy looking analog gauges. There is a TFT screen in the center, but it's not the same as some of those really avant-garde looking dashboards from some of the other brands. The head unit is a standard 8-inch screen, comes with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It's got that center mounted look that some people love and some people don't. One thing it does have is has a wireless charger in the center of the dash so you can charge your phone while you're driving. So the way it's put together, I would say, is first rate. Some of the sort of switchgear in here looks like it's borrowed from other cars, and I can kind of forgive that, as I mentioned, because of the way that they priced it. All right, back out on the road. Now, Genesis is doing things very differently. First of all, you can order your car online. You don't have to go to a dealer. You pick it up at a dealer, but you don't actually go to the dealer to order the car. You pay nothing except for the price of the car and the applicable taxes. There are no add-ons, and that includes 5 years warranty, 5 years of maintenance, valet pickup and drop off, and it really is a comprehensive package considering BMW gives you in the Canadian market 3 years of maintenance, Cadillac gives you 4, Genesis is giving you 5. So when you factor in the warranty, the maintenance, and the lower starting price of this car, I think there's going to be a lot more people gravitating towards this car. And initial sales in the first 4 or 5 months in the Canadian marketplace of this car have been moving a lot of units, so people are paying attention. So how much does it cost to get a G70? Is the base model at $42,000 in the Canadian market, $52,000 for the base V6, and this fully loaded, the one you see here, just over $57,000. By the way, this fully loaded model in the US is around $50,000, and when you look at the Canadian currency exchange, it's actually a better deal here in Canada. So I think this car, until we get a chance to drive that new 3 Series from BMW, is at the top of the class.